This is EB3, speaking the truth in love, and I just come on for a few minutes to give you guys a word of encouragement. If you like this video and want more content like it, like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share. It's Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way it should go, and when it's old, it will not depart. And let me make sure I said it exactly right. Because I train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart. So, okay, I said it right. And that's the King James Version. Oftentimes we see things in young people. And what I mean about when young people, I'm talking about teenagers and young folks in their early 20s all the way up to their 30s. And we're just like, what in the world is going on with these children nowadays? I think a lot of times what's going on with the way a lot of young people are acting is twofold. My generation and a generation right behind us. So that's the children that were born in the 70s and the 80s, right? There were some things that our parents did. Maybe we don't have to do it exactly. Maybe we might not have wanted to do it exactly like they did it. But some things I think we should have kept. The number one thing I see that's wrong with this generation is lack of respect. Lack of respect for themselves, lack of respect for authority, just lack of respect of life. And this is why I say that. Because when a 14-year-old, when a 13 or 14-year-old can just go take somebody's life and think nothing about it, then that's a problem. Because it should not be a situation where it's all over the country. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just one group of people. This is an American problem. It's not just a one ethnicity problem. This is an American problem. This is a society problem. And it's not just the world, because you also have people who have brought their children up in church, took their children to church year after year, Sunday after Sunday, through the week, all this, did everything. However, we don't know how they live behind closed doors. And I won't even get into that right now. We got to go back to teaching our children respect. And it starts when they're little. When you laugh at your little toddler hitting somebody, when you laugh at them cursing somebody out, repeating, bad language, no, stop, some of those things are kind of natural because they're learning their way. But what they're really learning is what they can get away with. In order to teach them respect, we got to learn how to make sure we go back to setting boundaries. And we got to keep our word. What do I mean by that? If you tell them, example, if you tell them, don't go in my refrigerator and get that candy out of there unless you ask me. If you do, I'm going to punish you. However the punishment is, it don't have to be a spanking. It could be taking a little toy or whatever. You got to do it. You got to be consistent. If you tell them that their bedtime is 7 o'clock, then put them down at 7 o'clock. Make them take their bath. If their bath time is a certain time, make them take their bath when they're supposed to, and make them get their butt in the bed and go to sleep. Now, you may have a routine. You might want to read with them. You might want to pray with them, or you might want to tell them a joke or two, whatever. Spend some little time and, snuggle with them before they go to bed. Nothing wrong with that. But when you tell them that their bedtime is 7 o'clock and they 4 and 5 years old and they still up at 8, 9, 10 o'clock, what I'm saying is you got to set boundaries. Because if you don't set boundaries at home, they don't know boundaries anywhere else. They're used to getting their way. And what you have is what I'm dealing with at work. This is what I'm dealing with at work. I'm dealing with people that are in their 20s and 30s and think everything's supposed to go their way. It doesn't work like that. Life, we got to teach our children at home that life does not work like that. You're not going to get everything your way. There's rules everywhere you go. And if you break the rules, there's consequences to those rules. My husband used to put it like this. There are benefits for doing the right thing, and there's consequences for doing the wrong thing. So you make good choices, you're going to get a benefit for it. If you make a bad choice, then you're going to get a consequence. And so, if you speed and you get caught speeding, you're going to get a ticket. The Bible puts it like this. It's the little foxes. It's the little foxes. It's the thinking things that are funny that's really not funny. Because what's funny at 5, you yourself as a parent will want to knock the fire out of them when they 12 or 15. And that's long 20. When they come in your house doing whatever, think they can do whatever they want to do and just run over you. If you don't put some fear and some respect. See, I know a lot of people say, your children ought not fear you. Yes, they should. They should fear you. Because this is what I've seen. This is what I've observed over the years, even when I was a child. Children who do not fear their parents, they don't fear anybody else either. Because if you don't fear your parents, if you don't have respect for your parents, then you're not going to have that for anybody else. And so you'll get up, you'll say whatever you think you should be able to say, big enough to say. You'll go out there and try to fight everybody. Look, little Johnny might be 6 feet tall, 300 pounds, but it's somebody bigger than him. And at the end of the day, it could be a 5'2" person. If they got a gun and Johnny don't have one, they can take some action that Johnny ain't gonna be able to make it through. We got to show these people, because they are little people. We got to teach them while they're young, and while they're still listening to you. Because by the time they get 12 and 13 years old, if you haven't put it in them by then, it's going to be hard to get there. Because now their personality is sure enough set. Their personality is set. I look at my 14-year-old sometimes and I'm just like, that boy right there, we might should have done some things a little bit different with him. Now, he's not a bad kid, but he just got some things that he need to work on. And maybe I should have did some things a little bit different than I did. I might have should have punished him a little bit more so he can understand that, hey, this is life. You can have fun, but there's a time and a place for everything. And I think that's what we're doing. It's never too late as long as they're still living. It's never too late. But at the same time, I personally don't want to raise anybody that go take somebody's life, somebody else's child's life. If it's self-defense, I'll put it like that. If it's self-defense, that's one thing. But I don't want my child to be the bully. I don't want my child to be the one that's robbing the bank. I want to raise, and you should want to raise, productive citizens. I want my children to be an asset, not a liability. Just like I want to be an asset and not a liability. And I think we need to start thinking more on those terms. And I want them to be able to live to see 50. I want them to be able to live to see 60. If that is in the will of God, 70, 80, 90 years old. I don't want them going out there doing something that would cause somebody to take their life. Now, don't get me wrong. There are other people that's out there that would do that. But that's why we have to have this dialogue. So my child don't mess up your child and your child don't mess up my child. Right? We really need to get some respect back in these young people. And it starts with us. Because if we can't, as the older people, if we acting like we're 5 years old, we can't sit down and communicate and talk to each other like we have some sense. What do we think the younger people that's coming up behind us are going to be like? You can't give what you don't have. And so if we need to go get some counseling, to go get somebody who has the skills that we don't have to help our children, that's what we need to do. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's not be embarrassed when we need some help. When you see that there's a behavior problem that you can't handle, go get some help. In the long run, you'll be thankful because you'll be able to see your child succeed versus going in the wrong direction. Anyway, this has been EB3 Speaking the Truth in Love. Tell me what you think about that. If you got some suggestions of how we can do a little bit better. Like my children are getting older. However, I'm getting on these terms of one day I'm going to have grandchildren. Let's be the village again. Let's be the village. It takes a village to raise one child. So let's go back to being the village again and try to raise these children together. Anyway, again, if you got any suggestions, whether you like this video or not, if you got any suggestions, drop it in a comment. But if you do like this video, then like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share. Anyway, this has been EB3 Speaking the Truth in Love. Be blessed, be a blessing, and let's go back to putting some respect in our offsprings. I'm out.